All right. So A24's new movie Undertone. That's something I saw, and to sum it up, I did like the movie. The only problem is I just had a bad theater experience. This movie is all about the sounds of these recordings these characters are listening to, and so let's just sort of dive into it. You basically have essentially three named characters. You have Evie, you have Justin, and you have Evie's mother. These are really our only three characters for pretty much the entire movie. So Evie runs this podcast about creepy things, and her friend Justin, they find a new topic. And Justin, he's the one that believes in all of it. He thinks it's real. He's trying to prove it. Evie, she's trying to pinpoint the logical side of these things to say how it can be explained in some reasonable, normal thing. So she basically tries to disprove them, these theories and these things they come up with, but they're both basically two sides for this podcast. And so we learn from early on in the movie, Evie's mother is basically essentially dying. We don't know exactly how or why. We just know she's sick. She's not doing well. She's just completely bedridden and unresponsive. She's not in a coma. She's not dead yet. She doesn't respond to whatever is being said by any characters. Whoever's trying to communicate with her, she's just not responding. That's just the state her mother's in right now. And so for this movie is definitely, I wouldn't say style over substance, but I definitely think style was the priority for filmmaking. There's scenes where Evie, she has her headphones on, she's doing the podcast, and the camera is sort of panning from the other room, and it's slowly panning over the hall, through the kitchen, and then back to Evie, all while you're hearing her conversation with Justin. So there's just a lot of elongated shots that it takes like 30 seconds to pan over to the characters while you're getting dialogue from these characters. So it was an interesting style for sure. I didn't really mind it. The only thing that I thought was kind of annoying is as they're panning over all these other rooms, going back to the characters, I kept trying to look and see if there was something that maybe I was supposed to notice or see, but there was never anything. Throughout the whole movie, when they do these kinds of shots over and over, which was quite constant, there's never anything that moves. There was maybe once you saw a shadow, and that was about it. So the elongated shots really, in my opinion, didn't really matter. It didn't really change the storytelling. Like I said, it really wasn't an issue. I just didn't see what purpose it served. But as we move on to the plot for this movie, basically Justin has been emailed these 10 different audio recordings of this creepy stuff going on. And we learn that it's this couple that is slowly going through some stuff. We end up finding the girl is pregnant, and each recording we get more and more information about this supernatural element that's happening around them. But because these aren't videos, it's just audio recordings, they can't really see what's happening. They just have to try to guess and figure out. And there is a lot of creepy stuff happening throughout these recordings where they hear children's songs played in reverse, which has hidden demonic or violent messages that they're sort of trying to uncover as Evie is slowly realizing some of her childhood favorite songs that her mother would sing to her have hidden messages that are demonic or evil. And as this storyline is slowly unraveling, as these supernatural elements are happening in the audio recordings, supernatural elements are happening inside Evie's house. But at first, she's not really convinced that it's part of the demonic stuff going on. She thinks it's just simple. There's things like the water turned on or the lights are flickering. It's sort of stereotypical stuff that I think a lot of people can explain, whether it's faulty pipes or the lighting issues. It's those sort of things that she's trying to disprove, even as it's happening to her in her own home, while her mother is going through almost similar things that others have gone through while all this is going on. So you see the coincidences, you see what's happening around Evie, but she's just not believing in what's happening is real. And so it's almost like it's annoying as a watcher because you want her to figure it out and save herself and her mother, but she's so naive to the fact that something's actually going on that you just know danger's coming for these characters. And the plot reveal for this movie is actually really interesting. I thought it was cool. So from the trailers, we hear the creepy music. We hear that there's something going on, but we don't know what. The reveal is all of the recordings is trying to slowly begin an incantation for a demon to appear and possess someone. And so we now have figured out at this point, as they're figuring out it's a demon, that this demon, this female demon, has been controlling her mother at various points throughout the film. And as we see that Evie is, drawing recklessly with crayon on this piece of paper while they're listening to this recording, when the recording's done, she looks at all her piece of paper, she puts them all together, and it forms the likeness of this demon, and it's appearing on the TV. The lights are flickering and everything now. Furniture is becoming upside down on the ceiling. So, in the final shots for this movie, it's incredibly creepy, and it's really cool. It's really, really interesting. And as everything is heading toward going upstairs, what is happening with her mother, we now learn that her mother has now gotten up and is presumably completely possessed. And as she confronts her mother, we see through, which the angle of the camera point of view in this movie is really cool. We see as Evie walks into, the dog needs to be quiet. As Evie walks into the room, we see through the window into the bathroom where her mother is standing, that's then walking backwards toward Evie. And as all this is going on, it's just really creepy. And at this point in the movie, the lights go dark. The movie essentially ends. All the lights turn off for all intents and purposes, and we hear her screaming, practically dying. And that's how the movie closes. So it's a very ambiguous ending. We don't know if the violence had ended and Evie survived, or if she was killed, if the mother came to or stayed possessed till the end, what happened to the mother. It is an extremely ambiguous ending. So overall, as she's going up the stairs in these final moments, we see the picture she drew of this demon is the picture of this demon she drew. That same picture is now on the walls and on the ceiling, just going up the house all the way toward her mother's room. And so all these elements make for an extremely interesting movie, and there was so much going on. The music and the creepiness, everything blends so well together. But the volume, I saw it in a Cinemark theater. This wasn't an XD. I saw it in standard. The volume was so ear-piercing. I was plugging my ears for a majority of the movie. I know there's an audio problem sometimes. And I know a lot of you guys do this because I do it too, is turn on subtitles instead of turning up a movie really, really loud, because the voices are always so much lower than the rest of the volume of the movie. So in this movie, I could hear all the people just fine, but I could hear everything else a little bit too much. I don't know if it was audio mixing for Cinemark or just for the theatrical release. I don't know what the deal was. I just know this was an extremely loud movie to watch in the theaters. So the dog is drinking water, if that's the bothersome noise you hear in the background. So this movie, I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a really neat story. I thought it was creepy. I loved all the elements that was thrown into this film. I just wish maybe the audio mix was different, but I don't think that discredits the film. I think it was really good, and I would check it out. Was this extremely overhyped? I don't know. I don't think this is one of the scariest movies I've seen. A lot of people were saying that. I know there was a tagline saying the scariest movie you've heard because of the audio stuff, but a lot of people really were saying that this is one of the creepiest movies they've seen. And I would just respectfully disagree. I think this can be compared to Hereditary in the sense of being overhyped, I think. I think it was a very solid story with a really neat plot line, but I think it was hyped a little bit too much. But like I said, it was great. I absolutely loved it. So check it out. Let me know what you think. This is A24. So when it comes to A24, usually, the horror elements are going to be really good. And that was the case again with this one. So if you see it, let me know what you think. Until next time.